Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. Tonight, we are drifting into the hidden world of plants and discovering the remarkable ways they defend themselves, even without legs, teeth, or claws. Plants may look still and docile, yet they are constantly listening, measuring, and responding to every potential threat. In gardens and forests, plants protect themselves with clever chemistry, with living armor, and with signals that travel through stems and soil. Some defenses taste awful. Some repel with scent. Some recruit allies from the air. Others seal wounds, harden tissues, or shut doors before trouble can slip inside. It is a slow-motion drama that has shaped insects, animals, and entire ecosystems for longer than humans have told stories. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, let your shoulders soften. Let your breathing slow. And as your mind begins to settle into stillness, join me on this fascinating journey through the natural world. Let's begin. Some plants can summon bodyguards by releasing special smells into the air. When certain plants are chewed, they release a special bouquet into the air that is different from the smell of a healthy leaf. Those drifting chemicals can act like a distress call, guiding hunters toward the feeding insect. Maize is a famous example. When caterpillars attack, the plant can release scents that attract parasitic wasps, which then search for the caterpillars and lay eggs on them. The plant is not attacking directly. It is outsourcing the job to a living security team. What makes this so striking is the precision. The odor blend can change depending on the kind of damage, which means the signal can be more useful than a general cry for help. It is a strategy built by long pressure over evolutionary time, where smelling like trouble becomes a way to survive trouble. Plants can sense damage fast, then trigger defenses within minutes. A plant does not need nerves to notice trouble. When a leaf is pierced, nearby cells read the wound like an alarm bell, sensing pressure changes and unfamiliar molecules from an attacker. Within moments, the plant shifts its priorities. Water flow can be redirected. Sugars can be moved away from the bite zone. Tiny factories inside the leaf begin producing protective compounds, often right where the damage is spreading. In experiments, researchers can clip a leaf edge and watch the plant switch on entire suites of defense genes almost immediately. That speed matters because many herbivores eat fast. A quick response can turn a tender meal into something harsh, sticky, or hard to digest before the next mouthful lands. In a world of quiet organisms, minutes can decide survival. A caterpillar bite can make a leaf taste suddenly bitter. To an insect, a leaf is not just food. It is a moving target that can change flavor as it is eaten. Many plants can increase bitterness after chewing begins, often by boosting compounds that interfere with taste and digestion. Tannins are one well-known group. They can bind to proteins, which makes plant tissue less nutritious and can leave a drying, puckering sensation in the mouth. Some oaks and many other species can ramp up tannin levels after repeated feeding, so the same leaf becomes less rewarding with every bite. This is a clever defense because it can teach an herbivore. The insect may move on to a different plant, which spreads out the damage and gives the first plant time to recover. Bitterness can be a warning, a punishment, and a lesson, all at once. Some leaves make gluey latex that can trap insects mid-bite. Latex is a thick fluid that flows from wounded tissues in certain plants, and it can be both a barrier and a trap. When an insect bites into a latex-producing leaf, the sticky liquid can ooze into the mouthparts, clogging them like wet cement. It can also coat the wound site, sealing it quickly so more pests, fungi, and bacteria struggle to get inside. The glue itself is already a problem, but latex often carries additional defensive molecules, which means the insect may be stuck with both a physical mess and a chemical sting. Some insects have evolved clever workarounds, like cutting veins first to drain latex away. That trick alone tells you how effective latex can be. The plant is not chasing its enemy. It is turning its own wound into a sticky battlefield that is hard to keep eating. Plants can warn nearby plants through the air, without touching. When a plant is attacked, it can release airborne chemicals that drift to its neighbors. Those neighbors can detect the message and prepare themselves, even before they are touched. In the wild, this can mean boosting defensive enzymes, changing leaf chemistry, or shifting resources toward tougher growth. It is not mind reading, and it is not speech. It is chemistry moving on the wind. The surprising part is that the receiver does not need to know the full story. It only needs a hint that danger is nearby. This kind of early warning can reduce the success of a spreading insect outbreak. It can also change the choices of herbivores, because a patch of plants may become less appetizing as a group. The forest and the field can function like a neighborhood watch, where one bite on one plant can raise alertness across many. Roots can detect attackers underground and respond without sunlight. Below the surface, roots live in a crowded world of hungry larvae, microscopic worms, and disease-causing microbes. Even in darkness, they can notice when something is wrong. An insect chewing on a root can trigger local changes in chemistry, and those changes can make the root less nutritious or harder to damage. Some plants also release defensive compounds into the soil around the attack site, shaping which microbes thrive nearby. That matters because the community around a root can either protect it or expose it. What is most fascinating is that the response does not depend on a leaf seeing the problem first. Roots can act on their own information using direct contact and chemical sensing. The plant is not defending a single organ. It is defending a whole body stretched across two worlds, one in air and one in soil, each with its own threats and tools. Some plants fight back with thorns, spines, and stinging hairs. Physical defenses are the plant world's version of barbed wire. Thorns and spines make it painful or awkward for large animals to take a clean bite, and they can protect the most valuable parts, like young shoots and buds. Some plants add another layer with stinging hairs, which can break and deliver irritating chemicals into skin. Even without a sting, dense hairs can discourage insects by making the surface difficult to walk on, feed through, or lay eggs onto. In many landscapes, you can see the story written into plant shapes. Where grazing pressure is intense, plants often become tougher, sharper, and harder to handle. These defenses do not need complex chemistry to work. They rely on simple physics, pain, and inconvenience. A hungry animal usually prefers a meal that does not fight back, so sharp structures can turn a plant from dinner into a last resort. A plant can sacrifice one leaf to save the rest. Sometimes the smartest defense is letting go. If a leaf becomes heavily damaged or infected, keeping it attached can be risky. It can act like a doorway for microbes. It can also become a source of signals that draw more pests. Many plants can seal off an injured leaf at its base and then drop it, separating the trouble from the healthier body. This is not weakness. It is triage. By isolating the damage, the plant can protect its growing tips, its future flowers, and its stored energy. The fallen leaf still has value in the ecosystem because it feeds decomposers and returns nutrients to the soil. For the plant, though, the key is survival and future growth. Sacrificing a part is a strategy that feels almost animal-like, Yet it is achieved with plant tissues that can pinch off, seal, and move on. Some defenses are so strong, they can make animals feel sick. Plants cannot run from being eaten, so many of them invest in chemicals that make herbivory costly. Some produce alkaloids that affect nerves and muscles. Others create compounds that irritate the gut, trigger nausea, or disrupt the liver's ability to process toxins. Livestock owners have known for centuries that certain wild plants can poison grazing animals, especially when forage is scarce. From the plant's perspective, the goal is not cruelty. It is learning, through evolution, that a mouthful should have consequences. If an animal feels ill after feeding, it may avoid that plant in the future, and it may even avoid that scent or shape in a whole landscape. These chemicals can also influence who eats what, which changes where seeds survive and which species dominate. A plant's internal chemistry can ripple outward, shaping behavior across an entire food web. Some trees grow thicker bark after fire as a living shield. Fire can be a disaster, yet in many ecosystems, it is also a regular visitor. Some trees respond by investing in bark that acts like insulation. Thick bark slows heat transfer, which protects the living layer beneath from being cooked. Over years, repeated fire pressure can shape a tree's entire strategy. Instead of putting every resource into quick growth, it may build a tougher outer coat that buys time when flames pass through. In places where low fires sweep along the ground, this can be the difference between survival and death. The most fascinating part is that bark is not just passive armor. It is built, renewed, and repaired by the tree itself. A long-lived tree is planning for injuries it has not met yet. It carries its history in rings, and it carries its future in the thickness of its skin. Some plants use explosive seed pods, escaping predators by sudden launch. If you stay put, you are easy to find. Some plants solve that with seed pods that build tension as they dry, then release it in a sudden snap. The pod walls can twist or split, flinging seeds away from the parent plant in an instant. This is not only about spreading into new territory. It is also about escaping the cluster of predators that gather around a known food source. A seed launched into leaf litter or grass can be harder to locate, and it can land in a microhabitat with better moisture and shade. The effect can be surprising even to humans when we brush past the right plant and hear the pop. It is defense through motion, yet the plant never moves itself. It stores energy slowly in its tissues, then releases it at exactly the moment the pod is ready. The plant is turning drying into a spring and dispersal into survival. Cabbages release sharp sulfur smells when insects chew their leaves. That punchy cabbage smell is not just kitchen drama. When the tissue is damaged, the plant's stored ingredients meet new enzymes, and a rush of sulfur-rich compounds is released. To many insects, it is a sudden sign that the meal has become risky. To other creatures, it can be a beacon. Predatory insects can use those odors to locate a caterpillar that is feeding right now, not an hour ago. The smell can also change depending on which part is eaten and how intense the attack is. That gives the plant a way to broadcast urgency with real detail. It is like a living alarm system that runs on chemistry, where the message is carried by air currents through a garden. One bite can turn a quiet patch of greens into a scented map of danger. Wild tobacco can boost nicotine after being attacked by hornworms. Nicotine is not there for human habits. In wild tobacco, it can be a powerful emergency response. When a hornworm begins feeding, the plant detects compounds from the wound and from the insect itself. It then redirects nitrogen toward making more nicotine, because nitrogen is precious and defense is worth the cost. The result is a leaf that becomes more toxic while it is being eaten. A hornworm can still feed for a while, but growth can slow and survival can drop. The most interesting part is the timing. The plant does not keep nicotine maxed out all the time. It treats defense like a budget. It spends heavily when a real threat is confirmed. In the wild, that flexibility matters. It means the plant can grow when the coast is clear, then become chemically unfriendly the moment a specialist herbivore shows up. Many plants keep chemical weapons stored, then mix them when wounded. A lot of plant defenses are not dangerous until they are brought together. Inside an intact leaf, reactive ingredients can be held in separate compartments, safely tucked away from the plant's own living machinery. When tissue is crushed, those barriers break. Enzymes meet their stored partners, and the mixture rapidly transforms into sharp-tasting, toxic, or irritating chemicals. This is a powerful design because it stays quiet when there is no threat, and it activates only when an attacker does real damage. It also makes stealing the defense harder. An herbivore might evolve a way to tolerate one ingredient. It still has to deal with the chemical burst that happens at the moment of chewing. The plant is, in effect, carrying a set of harmless parts that become a weapon only when the leaf is torn open. Plants can thicken their leaves after attack, making chewing harder. Some plants respond to damage the way a callus responds to friction. After repeated chewing, new growth can become tougher, thicker, and less pleasant to eat. The plant may add more structural material to cell walls, and it may build a denser surface layer that makes it harder for an insect to cut cleanly through. This changes the economics of feeding. Each bite takes longer. Each mouthful yields less usable nutrition. The attacker has to work harder, and that extra time increases danger from predators. Thickening can also protect against future waves of damage, because the next herbivore meets a leaf that is already reinforced. What makes this fascinating is that the plant is not locked into one texture forever. It can shift its build depending on conditions. In a sense, it is tailoring its body to match the threat, turning softness into armor when it is truly needed. Tomato plants make protein blockers that slow an insect's digestion. Some tomato defenses do not aim to poison. They aim to waste an attacker's time. After chewing begins, tomato leaves can increase molecules that interfere with digestive enzymes in an insect gut. The caterpillar keeps eating, yet it extracts less nutrition from each bite. That can force it to feed longer, which raises its exposure to predators and harsh weather. It can also delay the moment it becomes an adult that can reproduce. This strategy is clever because it targets a universal need. Every animal has to break food down into usable pieces. The plant is turning that process into a struggle. Tomatoes also coordinate this response across the plant, so the next leaf may already be prepared before the insect reaches it. It is not a single chemical punch. It is a slow sabotage of digestion that can reshape the whole life story of the herbivore. Chilly heat evolved to deter some mammals, not to punish humans. Capsaicin is famous for making mouths burn, but its real story is about selective pressure in the wild. Many mammals find the sensation so unpleasant that they avoid the fruits, which protects the seeds from being crushed by chewing teeth. Birds are different. They can eat hot peppers with little discomfort, and they tend to swallow seeds whole. That means the plant can recruit birds as seed couriers, while discouraging mammals that would destroy the payload. Heat also has another advantage. In some environments, capsaicin can help reduce fungal damage to fruits, which protect seeds during the vulnerable ripening stage. So, the burn is not a prank. It is a sorting tool. It guides the right animals toward the fruit and pushes the wrong ones away. Humans arrived later, and we turned a defensive boundary into a flavor adventure. Mustard oils form only after tissue breaks, like a chemical booby trap. Mustard and many of its relatives keep their most dramatic chemistry locked up until something bites down. In an intact leaf, precursor molecules are stored safely away from the enzyme that can transform them. When an insect tears the tissue, the compartments rupture. The reaction produces sharp mustard oils that can sting, repel, or disrupt tiny bodies that expected a mild snack. This setup is elegant because it protects the plant from its own defenses. It also concentrates the effect exactly where the attack occurs. The chemistry flares at the wound, not in the whole plant at once. Some specialist insects have evolved ways to cope, yet they often have to work harder or feed more carefully. That extra effort is part of the defense. The plant is turning chewing into a trigger. Each bite is a decision that activates consequences in real time. Cassava stores cyanide compounds, which activate when its cells are crushed. Cassava can be a life-saving crop for people, yet it carries a fierce defense for its own survival. Inside its tissues are cyanogenic compounds that are relatively stable while the cells remain intact. When the plant is damaged, those compounds can be converted into hydrogen cyanide, which interferes with cellular respiration in many animals. For a hungry pest, that can be a fast and serious problem. For humans, it is a reminder that domestication does not erase a plant's evolutionary history. Traditional processing methods like soaking, fermenting, and thorough cooking help remove or reduce the dangerous chemicals. The remarkable thing is how the plant uses a simple rule: keep the ingredients separate. Release the threat only when crushed. It is a defense that protects the living plant while also shaping human culture, cuisine, and food safety knowledge across generations. Almonds contain bitter compounds, and some can release cyanide when damaged. A bitter almond is a warning you can taste. Some almond seeds contain compounds that can break down into hydrogen cyanide when the seed is chewed or crushed. That makes sense from the plant's perspective, because a seed is a future tree packed into a small package. It needs protection from animals that would grind it up and end its chances. Humans have leaned into that chemistry in two very different ways. Sweet almonds come from varieties with far lower levels of the bitter compounds, which makes them safe and pleasant to eat. Bitter almonds require careful handling, and in many places they are regulated or processed to reduce risk. The bigger story is that flavor is not always for enjoyment. Sometimes it is an alarm system. Bitterness can be the plant's way of saying that this is not food. It is inheritance, and it is guarded. Clover can raise its bitterness after repeated grazing in one season. A field plant has a problem that a tree does not. It can be cropped again and again by hungry mouths. Some clovers respond by becoming less appealing after repeated grazing. When the leaves are removed, the plant shifts its chemistry, so the regrowth is tougher to enjoy. That change can involve a rise in bitter-tasting defensive compounds, and it can happen within the same growing season. It is a fascinating kind of feedback loop. The more pressure the plant experiences, the more it invests in discouraging the next bite. This can influence how animals move across a pasture, because a grazer may learn that certain patches are becoming unpleasant. Over time, that changes which plants thrive and which are repeatedly eaten down. The plant is not passive. It is negotiating with its environment using taste as its language. In that negotiation, persistence can be a form of power. Some grasses load silica into leaves, wearing down animal teeth. Grass looks soft, but many grasses hide tiny grains of silica inside their tissues. These mineral particles form structures called phytoliths, and they can make leaves feel gritty. For an herbivore, that grit is not just annoying. Over months and years, it can increase tooth wear, which is a serious cost for animals that rely on grinding plant material. This defense is slow, yet it is deeply effective. It does not need to kill an attacker today. It can reduce feeding efficiency and shorten the working lifespan of teeth. That pressure may even shape how animals evolve, favoring high-crowned teeth in species that graze heavily. Grasses also gain another benefit. Silica can strengthen leaves, which makes them harder to tear. So a pasture can become a kind of mineral mine, where plants borrow Earth's glassy materials to resist being turned into lunch. Trees can flood a wound with resin that seals and sanitizes. When a tree is wounded, it faces a double threat. Insects can exploit the opening, and microbes can colonize the exposed tissues. Many trees answer with resin. It can flow into the injury, sealing gaps and creating a sticky barrier that is difficult to cross. Resin can also contain compounds that inhibit bacteria and fungi, which helps keep decay from spreading inward. Over time, resin can harden into a protective plug. In some cases, it can even trap small invaders, preserving them like a biological snapshot. The tree is using chemistry and physics together. It glues the door shut, then makes the doorway hostile to unwanted guests. This is not a quick, twitching defense. It is a steady, determined response from a long-lived organism that expects to be injured and expects to survive. A tree cannot avoid damage. It can only outlast it. Pines defend themselves by forcing beetles out with thick, pressurized resin. Bark beetles do not arrive politely. They chew through bark. They try to carve tunnels, and they can carry fungi that help them take over. A healthy pine has an answer ready inside its body. Resin ducts hold sticky pitch under pressure, and when a beetle breaks the surface, the tree can flood the entry hole. If the pressure is strong enough, the beetle can be pushed back out, coated, and immobilized. Even when the beetle escapes, the tunnel can be sealed, which blocks airflow and makes the site hostile to microbes. Trees can also ramp up resin production after the first attack, like a fortress reinforcing its walls mid-siege. It is a dramatic defense because it looks active, almost muscular, yet it is powered by SAP flow and chemistry, not motion. Acacias can arm themselves quickly with extra thorns after browsing. In many dry landscapes, browsing animals return to the same plants again and again. Some acacias do not simply accept that. After being nibbled, they can shift growth so new shoots develop more thorns, or longer thorns, which makes the next visit far less comfortable. This is not a slow evolutionary change. It is a flexible response within one lifetime, like a plant changing its outfit after a bad encounter. The goal is not to become untouchable forever. It is to make repeated feeding costly enough that a grazer moves on. What makes it feel almost strategic is the timing. Tender new growth is usually the most tempting part of a plant. That is exactly where many acacias place their sharpest deterrents. The plant is protecting the future by making the future hard to bite. Certain acacias host ants that attack anything that touches them. Some acacias do not defend themselves alone. They offer shelter and food to ants, and the ants repay the favor with fierce protection. Hollow thorns can become living apartments, while nectar or small nutrient-rich pellets can provide steady meals. In return, the ants patrol the branches, rushing toward movement and biting or stinging intruders. A browsing animal may get a face full of angry defenders after only a brief taste. Even insects that try to feed or lay eggs can be chased away. This partnership is so intense that the tree's survival can depend on the ants being present, and the ants can depend on the tree for their home. It is a living contract written in behavior, not words. In a hop savanna, you can watch it happen. Touch the branch, and the tree seems to wake up through its allies. Milkweed latex gums up mouths, and its toxins punish careless eaters. Milkweed can look soft, yet it fights like a trap. When the leaf is torn, white latex flows out and quickly becomes sticky. For many insects, that is a mechanical nightmare. Mouthparts can be glued, and feeding can become slow and risky. At the same time, milkweed defends with cardiac glycosides, chemicals that can interfere with heart function in many animals. The two defenses work together. The latex can keep the attacker in contact with the toxins longer, and the toxins make that contact more costly. The plant is turning injury into a weapon, right at the bite. Some specialist insects learn to cut veins first to reduce latex flow, which is a clue to how effective it can be. A leaf that bleeds on purpose is not helpless. It is designed to make eating difficult, dangerous, and unforgettable. Monarch caterpillars steal milkweed toxins, becoming poisonous themselves. A monarch caterpillar does something bold. Instead of merely surviving milkweed toxins, it stores them. As it feeds, the caterpillar sequesters cardiac glycosides in its body, and those chemicals can remain through metamorphosis into the adult butterfly. That means a plant's defense becomes the insect's shield. Predators that taste a monarch may learn fast that the bright orange warning colors are not decoration. They are a billboard for danger. This is one of nature's most surprising twists. A chemical meant to protect a plant ends up protecting an animal, and the animal's survival depends on finding the right plant in the first place. It also turns milkweed patches into more than food. They are nurseries for chemically defended travelers. The monarch's famous migrations capture our attention, yet behind that journey is a quiet theft of plant chemistry that changes the rules of predation. Passionflower leaves can mimic butterfly eggs to prevent more egg-laying. Some butterflies lay eggs on passionflower vines, and the caterpillars that hatch can strip leaves quickly. Certain passionflowers respond with deception. They produce small, egg-like bumps or spots on leaves that resemble already laid butterfly eggs. For a butterfly, that visual cue matters, because overcrowding can mean hungry rivals and fewer surviving offspring. If the leaf appears taken, the butterfly may move on. It is a defense that does not need poison or spines. It relies on exploiting an insect's decision-making. The plant is shaping behavior before the damage even begins. This is also a reminder that plant defenses can be about appearance, not just chemistry. The vine does not have to fight the caterpillar if it can discourage the egg. In that sense, the safest battle is the one that never starts. Some plants create fake nectaries to distract insects from real flowers. A flower's nectar is meant to lure helpful visitors, yet it can also attract thieves and troublemakers. Some plants add decoys, structures that look like nectar sources but do not truly pay out. These false nectaries can redirect insects to less sensitive areas, or they can keep them busy long enough that effective pollinators do their work elsewhere. In certain species, the decoys are on petals or nearby tissues, and they guide movement like runway lights. The plant is not trying to starve every insect. It is trying to control traffic. In a crowded pollinator scene, small differences in where an insect lands can decide whether pollen is carried properly or wasted. Deception can be a defensive tool that still supports reproduction. It is a delicate balance, because the plant must remain attractive while preventing the wrong kind of attention from turning its flowers into a feeding station. Pitcher plants drown insects, then digest them for extra nutrients. In nutrient-poor bogs, soil can be wet and acidic, and nitrogen can be hard to come by. Pitcher plants solve that problem with a shocking strategy. Their leaves form deep cups filled with liquid. The rim can be slippery, and scent can lure insects close. A misstep sends the insect into the pitcher, where slick walls make climbing out nearly impossible. Over time, the prey breaks down, and the plant absorbs the released nutrients. This is not just hunting for drama. It is a survival adaptation to harsh habitats where normal root uptake is not enough. Some pitchers even host small communities, like larvae and microbes that help process the trapped food. The plant becomes both trap and tiny ecosystem. It is a reminder that defense and feeding can blur together. A leaf can be a stomach when the environment demands it. Venus flytraps only close after 2 touches to avoid false alarms. A Venus flytrap lives with a problem. Closing its trap costs energy, and if it closes on a raindrop or a bit of falling debris, it wastes precious resources. So it uses a simple form of counting. Trigger hairs inside the trap must be touched twice within a short window before the jaws snap shut. 1 touch could be noise. 2 touches suggests an animal moving with intention. After the trap closes, it still checks its decision. If the prey is small and stops moving, the trap may reopen without digesting. If the prey keeps struggling, the trap seals tighter and digestive processes begin. This layered control is what makes it feel almost animal-like. It is not reflex for reflex's sake. It is cost management. In a small patch of wet soil, a plant is making decisions about energy, timing, and probability, all with nothing more than hairs, pressure, and electrical signals. Sundews use sticky drops that look like dew, but behave like glue. A sundew is a patient hunter that does not need a snap trap. Its leaves are covered in tiny stalks tipped with shimmering droplets, and in sunlight, they really can look like morning dew. An unlucky gnat lands for a sip, and it discovers the shine is sticky mucilage. The more it struggles, the more it touches, and the stronger the grip becomes. Then the leaf begins to move. Nearby tentacles slowly lean inward, pressing the insect deeper into the glue. Over hours, the plant releases digestive fluids and absorbs the released nutrients, which is priceless in bogs, where soil offers little to eat. What feels most astonishing is the pace. It is not fast like an animal. It is steady like a closing net. In the end, the leaf unwraps itself again, ready to glitter for the next visitor. Some plants jam insect hormones, disrupting growth and reproduction. Not every defense needs to taste bitter or burn. Some plants fight by confusing an insect's internal timetable. Insects rely on hormones to molt, to mature, and to become fertile adults. Certain plants produce compounds that mimic or interfere with those signals, so a larva can become stuck in the wrong stage. It may molt too early, too late, or not properly at all. Even when the insect survives, it can emerge weaker, smaller, or less able to reproduce. This is a remarkable strategy because it targets a deep vulnerability. Growth is not optional. It is a chain of carefully timed steps, and the plant is slipping in a false instruction. This kind of chemical interference can also deter future feeding, because insects that learn a plant disrupts their development may avoid it. The plant is defending itself by reaching into an attacker's biology and pulling on hidden strings. A leaf can release enzymes that disable an insect's saliva tricks. When an insect feeds, it does not just chew. It often delivers saliva that helps it feed more effectively, and that saliva can contain molecules that try to quiet a plant's alarm systems. Some plants answer with enzymes that break down those manipulative signals. The result is like stripping a disguise off an intruder. Once the saliva tricks are neutralized, the plant's defenses can switch on more strongly, and the attacker loses its advantage. This is a subtle battle, because you cannot see it from the outside. It happens at the microscopic edge of a bite, where the plant is testing what has arrived and deciding how to respond. The drama is that both sides are adapting. Insects evolve new saliva tools, and plants evolve new ways to dismantle them. A single mouthful can become an arms race in miniature, fought with chemistry and timing rather than teeth and claws. Some plants shift sugar away from damaged tissue, starving the attacker. Leaves are not only food for herbivores, they are also sugar factories for the plant. When feeding begins, some plants can change where those sugars go, pulling valuable resources away from the attacked area. That means the leaf becomes less rewarding, even if it still looks green. For an insect, it is like finding a pantry that has been emptied while you were still eating. The plant may redirect sugars toward safer leaves, toward growing roots, or toward rebuilding what was lost. This can also slow the spread of damage because a hungry herbivore is more likely to move on if the meal stops paying off. What makes this strategy feel almost cunning is its restraint. The plant is not trying to win by brute force. It is trying to make the attacker waste effort. The bite site becomes a poor investment, and the plant quietly shifts its wealth elsewhere. Plants can send defensive signals through their veins, like internal messages. Inside a plant, veins are not just plumbing. They are routes for information. When one leaf is wounded, chemical signals can travel through vascular tissue to other parts of the plant, warning them that trouble has begun. That can prime distant leaves to strengthen defenses before the attacker arrives, which is especially useful when an insect crawls from leaf to leaf. The plant is coordinating, turning separate organs into a responsive whole. What is striking is the scale. A bite on a single leaf can trigger changes in tissues far away, even on the other side of the plant. This helps explain why some herbivores prefer to feed quietly and avoid setting off alarms, because a loud first bite can ruin the rest of the meal. In a world without voices, veins become a network for swift preparation, carrying chemistry that acts like a message with urgency and direction. Electric-like signals can race through a plant after wombing. Plants can generate rapid electrical changes across their tissues, and those signals can move faster than chemical diffusion alone. When a leaf is injured, ion channels in cell membranes can shift, creating a wave of electrical activity that spreads through the plant. This can help coordinate defense responses, especially when a threat is sudden and localized. It is not a brain signal, yet it is a real, measurable electrical event that can change what the plant does next. Some responses that follow include closing pores, altering water flow, or switching on protective chemistry in nearby tissues. The mind-blowing part is that this gives a plant a kind of fast internal alert, even though it has no nerves. It is using physics as a messenger, turning the movement of ions into a warning system. In the quiet life of a plant, electricity can be a way to move urgency without moving the body. Plants can remember stress and respond faster the next time. A plant that survives one attack can be better prepared for the next. After a period of stress, some plants enter a primed state, where defense pathways are easier to activate again. The initial threat may leave behind molecular changes that act like a bookmark, so the plant can flip back to protection mode more quickly. This can make a second attack less successful, even if the first one caused real damage. It is not memory in the human sense, yet it has a similar effect. Past experience shapes future response. What makes this so fascinating is that it can last beyond the immediate crisis. A plant may look normal again, yet it is poised, with certain defenses ready to surge. In environments where herbivores return in waves, that readiness can be the difference between limping through a season and thriving. The plant's history becomes part of its strategy. Some species use rapid leaf movement to knock off tiny pests. We tend to imagine plants as still, but some can move fast enough to matter. In a few species, leaflets can twitch or flick in response to touch, vibration, or sudden disturbance. For a tiny insect, that motion can feel like an earthquake. It can lose its grip, tumble off the surface, or fail to place an egg where it intended. This defense works best against small pests that rely on steady footing, especially in windy or exposed habitats where a fall can be fatal. The movement can also interrupt feeding, because a precise bite becomes harder when the surface will not stay put. What makes this thrilling is that it is not a trap that waits. It is a refusal. The plant is saying, "You cannot settle here." Even a small jolt can be enough to change an insect's decision, turning a potential infestation into a brief, unsuccessful visit. Sensitive plant leaves fold when touched, reducing easy bites. When you touch a sensitive plant, its leaves can fold inward with surprising speed. The movement happens because cells shift water pressure and the leaflets collapse into a tighter shape. For an herbivore, that sudden change can make the plant harder to bite and less convenient to handle. It can also reduce the exposed leaf area, which may discourage insects that prefer broad, open surfaces for feeding or egg-laying. The folded leaves may look less like food and more like a wiry stem, which can lower interest from casual grazers. There is also a protective side to the motion. By closing up, the plant can reduce physical damage during disturbance, and it can limit how much of the leaf surface is available to tiny attackers. What feels magical is the speed. A plant that cannot walk still finds a way to react, turning touch into a visible defensive gesture. Many flowers hide pollen until the right visitor arrives. Some flowers keep their most valuable dust under lock and key because pollen is both treasure and risk. If it is exposed too early, rain can ruin it, wind can waste it, and the wrong insects can steal it without helping the plant reproduce. So many species control access with timing and mechanics. Some anthers do not open until a certain humidity or temperature is reached. Others hold pollen inside narrow tubes, releasing it only when a strong visitor vibrates the flower, a behavior called buzz pollination. That means a lightweight nectar thief may leave empty-handed, while a sturdy bee does the job properly. It is a careful gatekeeping system that saves pollen for partners that can carry it to the next bloom. The flower is not passive decoration. It is a bouncer, a safe, and a schedule, all in one living design. Some orchids trick insects with fake mating signals without offering nectar. A few orchids have evolved a strategy that feels almost like stage magic. Instead of paying pollinators with nectar, they imitate the scent cues that insects use to find mates. A male insect arrives expecting a partner, and it may attempt to court the flower. In the process, pollen packets can attach to its body, ready to be delivered to the next deceptive bloom. The orchid gets fertilized without spending energy on a sugary reward. For the insect, it is an embarrassing mistake. Yet the trick can be powerful enough to keep working, because the signals tap into deep instincts. This is not random mimicry. It is tuned to a particular species, with the right chemical notes to pull the right visitor out of the air. The fascination is that pollination, which sounds peaceful, can involve manipulation and illusion. In this quiet contest, the flower wins by borrowing the language of desire. Certain plants produce extra nectar after damage, hiring more protectors. Nectar is usually framed as a gift for pollinators, yet some plants treat it like a paycheck for security. When leaves are attacked, certain species can increase nectar production in special glands, sometimes located outside the flowers. That sweetness draws ants and other aggressive insects that patrol the plant. Once they are fed, they are more likely to chase off caterpillars, beetles, or anything else that tries to chew. It is a fascinating swap. the plant converts energy into sugar and sugar into protection without having to fight directly. What makes this feel like strategy is the timing. The reward can ramp up when danger is real, then ease back when the pressure drops. That prevents waste. It also turns the plant into a busy little marketplace where defenders arrive because the payment is reliable. In a sense, the plant is buying time and safety with sweetness and letting hired muscle handle the drama. Some plants use bright warning colors to signal they taste awful. Color can be more than beauty. For some plants, bold patterns and striking hues act as a warning sign. Leaves or fruits may display reds, purples, or high-contrast markings that stand out against green backgrounds. The message is simple. This is not worth the bite. Many animals learn through experience, and they can remember a color linked to a bad meal. If a grazer feels sick after sampling a vividly colored plant, it may avoid that signal in the future, and that avoidance can spread through a herd by observation and habit. The plant benefits because it reduces repeat attacks. This idea mirrors warning coloration in animals, yet plants can do it with pigments that also serve other roles, like protection from intense light. The key is communication. A plant cannot chase. It can only persuade. Brightness becomes a billboard, saying that the chemicals inside are not friendly, and that curiosity may come with consequences. In some species, young leaves are red, which can deter herbivores. New leaves are often the tastiest because they are tender and packed with nutrients. Some plants protect that vulnerable stage by tinting young growth red. Those pigments can make the leaves look less like the usual green target that many insects and grazers seek. In some cases, the color may also signal toughness or chemical defenses, even before the leaf has fully matured. There is another advantage too. Red pigments can help manage light stress while a leaf is still building its photosynthetic machinery, which keeps the young tissue healthier and less easily damaged. The result is a double shield, part camouflage, part protection. What makes this so intriguing is that the redness is temporary. As the leaf toughens and becomes less vulnerable, it often turns green. The plant is matching its appearance to its life stage, like changing armor as a battlefront shifts. For a hungry herbivore, the message can be, "Come back later, if you dare." Some plants grow hairs that reflect light, confusing insects trying to land. Leaf hairs can be tiny, yet they can reshape an insect's world. A dense coat of hairs can reflect and scatter light, altering how the surface looks as a landing zone. For small flying insects that navigate by contrast and sheen, a hairy leaf can be visually tricky, like trying to land on glare. Even if an insect touches down, the hairs can keep its feet from finding solid grip, which turns feeding into a clumsy struggle. Some hairs also create a layer of still air over the leaf, which changes temperature and humidity right at the surface. That can make the plant less inviting to pests that prefer particular conditions for feeding or egg-laying. What is compelling is how low-tech the defense is. No toxins required, just structure. The plant grows a miniature forest of fibers, and that forest alters light, balance, and access. For an insect, the leaf becomes an unsteady stage, and the easiest choice is often to leave. Leaf hairs can also hold dew, promoting fungal enemies of insects. A hairy leaf can change more than grip. It can change moisture. Fine hairs can trap tiny droplets of dew and keep the leaf surface wet for longer after sunrise. That lingering dampness can support certain fungi that infect insects, especially soft-bodied pests that thrive in crowded leaf canopies. In the right conditions, spores can stick to an insect's body, germinate, and spread through the pest population. The plant is not creating the fungus from scratch. It is shaping the microclimate so the pest's natural enemies have a better chance. This is a fascinating example of indirect defense, where the plant nudges the ecosystem instead of attacking directly. It also shows that a defense can be subtle enough to go unnoticed by us, while still changing survival odds for tiny animals. The hairs are like a moisture net, and the moisture becomes an invitation for allies the plant never had to evolve on its own. Waxy leaf surfaces can make it hard for pests to grip. Some leaves are coated in waxy layers that feel slick to the touch, and to an insect, they can be like ice. A pest may land, try to walk, and find its feet sliding. That makes it harder to reach a good feeding spot, and it can also make egg-laying less secure. In some plants, the wax forms crystals that break off easily, so an insect's claws cannot get purchase. The pest may even get dusted with wax particles that reduce grip further. This kind of defense can have a bonus. The waxy surface can repel water, which helps the plant manage moisture and reduces the chance that spores linger long enough to infect. What is fascinating is how simple the concept is. Do not fight. Just become hard to hold. A leaf does not need to be toxic to be defended. Sometimes it only needs to be inconvenient, so the attacker spends more energy than the meal is worth. Stomata can close during danger, limiting pathogen entry with less water loss. Stomata are tiny pores that plants use to trade gases with the air, and they are essential for life. They are also openings that microbes can exploit. When danger is detected, some plants can close these pores to reduce the chance that bacteria slip inside. The plant is making a difficult trade. It still needs carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, and it still needs to manage water. Yet in a moment of threat, closing the doors can be the safer choice. Signals triggered by microbes on the leaf surface can prompt stomata to tighten, and that response can happen quickly. What makes this so compelling is that it is a defense built into normal breathing. The plant is using its everyday machinery as a security system. It is not only building walls, it is controlling the gates that must stay open most days. In a world full of invisible pathogens, the ability to shut a pore at the right moment can prevent an infection from ever starting. Plants can reinforce cell walls, turning soft tissue into armor. When attackers push in, plants can harden from within. Cells can strengthen their walls by adding extra layers of structural material, encoding lignin and related compounds that make tissues tougher and less penetrable. This reinforcement can slow a chewing insect, and it can also block fungi that try to thread through spaces between cells. Imagine trying to bite through something that keeps stiffening as you chew. That is the experience many pests face. The plant can focus this strengthening around the wound site, which creates a fortified zone that contains the damage. It is especially striking because the plant is building its armor while under attack, using resources that might otherwise go to growth or reproduction. Yet survival comes first. A reinforced wall is not flashy, but it is decisive. It turns a leaf from a soft snack into a construction project, and many attackers do not have the tools or time to finish the job. Plants can starve invading fungi by hiding away essential iron. Many microbes need iron the way we need oxygen. When a fungus tries to invade, some plants respond by locking iron down so tightly that the attacker cannot access it. Inside plant tissues, iron can be bound to proteins or tucked into safe storage sites, and the available supply in the infection zone drops fast. For the fungus, that is like breaking into a house and finding every cupboard empty. Growth slows, enzymes fail, and the invasion can stall before it gains momentum. The clever part is that the plant is not relying on a single poison. It is using scarcity as a weapon. This also helps limit collateral damage because the plant can concentrate the iron lockdown near the threatened area while keeping the rest of its body running. It is defense by deprivation, and it is surprisingly effective. Some plants produce antimicrobial chemicals at the exact infection site. When a pathogen lands on a leaf, the plant does not need to flood its whole body with defenses. Many species can manufacture antimicrobial compounds right where the enemy is trying to enter. These chemicals can slow bacteria, weaken fungal cell walls, or disrupt vital processes that microbes depend on to spread. The effect is intensely local. It is like a tiny chemical moat forming around a single wound or pore. This precision matters because strong antimicrobials can be costly to make, and they can interfere with the plant's own metabolism if they spread too widely. By focusing the response, the plant can keep growing and photosynthesizing while still fighting fiercely at the front line. In some cases, the plant also strengthens the nearby tissue at the same time, which turns the infection site into a fortified zone. The astonishing part is the speed. A microscopic landing can trigger a rapid, targeted chemical response that never needs eyes, ears, or a brain. A hypersensitive response can kill local cells, trapping a pathogen. Sometimes the most dramatic defense is self-sacrifice. When certain plants detect a dangerous pathogen, they can trigger a rapid death of cells right around the infection point. That sounds extreme, yet it can be brilliantly effective. Many pathogens need living tissue to feed and multiply. If the plant cuts off that living resource, the invader can be stranded in a patch of dead cells with nowhere to go. The visible result can be tiny brown spots on a leaf, which are not random damage. They are intentional containment zones. This strategy is also careful in its own way. The plant aims to kill only what it must, keeping the rest of the leaf functioning. It is a reminder that plant survival is often about containment, not perfection. Losing a few cells can save an entire branch. In the silent logic of evolution, that trade is worth it. Plants can recognize common microbial patterns, like early warning flags. Before a microbe fully invades, it leaves hints. Many plants can detect broad molecular patterns that are shared by many bacteria and fungi. These are not specific names. They are recognizable signatures of microbial life. When a plant senses them at the surface, it can switch on early defenses that make entry harder and growth less likely. This is the botanical version of hearing footsteps outside the door and turning on the lights. The response can include tightening cell wall defenses, activating defensive enzymes, and preparing antimicrobial chemistry. It is not perfect protection, yet it buys time. Time is everything when an infection can spread through soft tissue. What makes this fascinating is that it is a general system. The plant does not need to have met a particular pathogen before. It only needs to recognize that something with microbial traits is present. In a world full of invisible threats, pattern recognition is a powerful way to stay alive. Some plants detect specific insect saliva, identifying the exact attacker. An insect bite is not just torn tissue. It is also chemistry delivered into the wound. Many herbivores inject saliva that helps them feed, and plants can read that saliva like a calling card. Certain molecules can reveal whether the attacker is a caterpillar, a beetle, or a sap-feeding insect. That matters because different enemies require different responses. Chewing damage may call for one set of defenses, while sap-feeding may call for another. By identifying the attacker, the plant can choose a more effective strategy instead of wasting energy on the wrong one. This is astonishing because the plant is doing a kind of diagnosis without movement or sight. It is sampling the chemistry at the bite and making a decision. In nature, accuracy can mean survival. A tailored defense can slow feeding sooner, reduce future egg laying, or discourage the insect from returning. The plant is not guessing. It is recognizing. pathogens try to silence plant alarms, and plants evolve new detectors. The battle between plants and pathogens is not only about attack and defense. It is also about sabotage. Many pathogens release special molecules that interfere with plant signaling, aiming to dampen immune responses before they flare up. If the plant's alarm system is muted, the pathogen can spread quietly through tissue, like a thief moving through a dark house. Plants are not helpless in this contest. Over generations, they evolve new receptors and new sensing strategies that can spot those tricks or detect the invader in a different way. This leads to a rolling cycle. The pathogen changes its tools. The plant changes its locks. This tug-of-war is one reason plant immunity is so diverse across species. It is also why a disease that devastates one crop variety may barely affect another. The drama is not always visible, yet it is relentless. It is an evolutionary arms race written into genes, seasons, and survival. Plants produce reactive oxygen bursts that can damage invaders quickly. When a plant detects an attacker, it can release a sudden burst of reactive oxygen molecules at the threatened site. These molecules are dangerous because they can damage proteins and membranes, which makes them effective against microbes trying to establish themselves. The plant uses this burst like a flashbang. It is brief, intense, and aimed at the point of contact. The response can also act as a signal, helping nearby cells shift into defense mode. What makes this so striking is the balance. Reactive oxygen can harm the plant too if it spreads unchecked, so the plant couples the burst with antioxidant systems that control the damage. It is controlled fire. Used carefully, it can stop an invasion before it becomes an infection. Used poorly, it would be self-destructive. That careful control is the marvel. A leaf can generate a rapid chemical shock, then rein it back in, all without conscious control. It is biochemistry with discipline. Some defenses work like vaccines, preparing the whole plant after one attack. A plant can learn from trouble in a way that changes what happens next. After a first attack or infection, signals can spread through the plant and prime distant tissues, so they respond faster if danger returns. The plant is not storing memories like an animal, yet it is shifting its internal readiness. Defense genes can become easier to activate, and protective enzymes can rise more quickly. This can reduce damage from a second encounter, even if that second encounter happens days later. It is a powerful idea because it shows that plant defense is not only reactive. It can be anticipatory. The first skirmish prepares the fortress. In agriculture, this concept has inspired research into treatments that stimulate plant immunity without causing major stress. In nature, it gives a plant an advantage in seasons when pests and pathogens arrive in waves. The first alarm can protect leaves that were not even touched. The plant becomes harder to surprise. Systemic acquired resistance can protect distant leaves for weeks. After a plant survives an infection, it can enter a long-lasting defensive state that spreads beyond the original site. Signals travel through the plant and raise baseline readiness in tissues that never met the pathogen. This broader protection can persist for weeks, which is astonishing for an organism that cannot run away from repeat attacks. The effect is not just local repair. It is whole plant preparation. Distant leaves can become quicker to mount antimicrobial responses, and they can resist a wider range of subsequent infections. It is as if the plant updates its security protocols after a break-in, then applies those updates across the entire body. This helps explain why a minor early infection does not always lead to catastrophe. Sometimes it becomes a warning shot that strengthens the plant for the rest of the season. The story is also one of trade-offs. Maintaining elevated defense costs energy. So plants use this strategy when the risk is real enough to justify the expense. Beneficial microbes on roots can prime plant immunity before trouble arrives. A plant's roots live among countless microbes, and not all of them are enemies. Some bacteria and fungi form helpful partnerships that can improve nutrient access, and they can also strengthen the plant's defenses. When beneficial microbes colonize the root zone, they can stimulate the plant's immune system in a low-level way that does not cause damage. The plant becomes more alert, ready to respond rapidly if a pathogen appears later. This is like having a trained guard dog that keeps the household attentive. The fascinating part is that the plant is not reacting to an attack. It is building readiness through friendship. The microbes benefit too, because a healthier plant provides more root exudates and a more stable habitat. This relationship can shift outcomes above ground as well, reducing disease on leaves and stems, even though the partnership began in the soil. It is a reminder that plant defense is not only about fighting. It is also about recruiting the right neighbors and letting them help set the tone of the ecosystem. Mycorrhizal fungi can help plants resist disease, not just gather nutrients. A plant root is not always alone. In many soils, it links up with mycorrhizal fungi that wrap around roots or thread inside them, creating a shared network for trading nutrients and water. What feels almost miraculous is that this partnership can also toughen a plant against disease. When helpful fungi are present, roots can become harder for pathogens to colonize, partly because the fungi occupy space and resources that invaders want. The relationship can also nudge the plant's immune system into a ready state, so it reacts faster when trouble appears. Some fungi even influence which microbes gather near the root, favoring communities that keep pathogens in check. It is a quiet kind of protection, built from cooperation rather than aggression. In a forest, this means a plant's health can depend on unseen allies underfoot, turning the soil into a living support team. Some roots release chemicals that discourage nematodes from approaching. Nematodes are tiny worms that can pierce roots and siphon resources, and some can seriously damage crops. Yet roots can fight back before contact happens. Certain plants release specific chemicals into the soil that act like warning signs, making the area less attractive to these attackers. Think of it as a scent boundary line, drawn in the darkness. Some root exudates can repel nematodes directly. Others can interfere with the cues nematodes use to locate a host, so they wander without finding the right target. In a patch of soil, that confusion can be the difference between a root being swarmed or being ignored. The most fascinating part is that this is prevention, not repair. The plant is shaping the behavior of an enemy it may never touch. It is also doing it in a complex environment where chemicals bind to particles, diffuse through pores, and mingle with countless microbial signals. Plants can farm helpful bacteria by feeding them sugars through roots. Roots leak a surprising amount of carbon into the soil, including sugars and other small molecules. That seems wasteful until you realize it can be intentional. By offering food, plants can encourage the growth of helpful bacteria right where they need them most. Those microbes can compete with pathogens, produce protective compounds, or improve nutrient availability in ways that feed the plant back. It becomes a small underground economy. The plant supplies energy. The microbes provide services. This is not kindness. It is survival strategy. A root that cultivates the right neighbors can be harder to infect and better able to cope with stress. What makes this so compelling is the subtle control. Plants can change the mix of exudates depending on conditions, which shifts which microbes thrive nearby. Over time, a plant can shape a root zone community that feels almost like a custom-built microbiome. tuned to local threats and local soil. Certain plants secrete compounds that stop bacterial communication, blunting infection. Many bacteria coordinate their behavior through chemical messaging. When enough bacteria gather, they can switch on genes that help them invade, form slimy biofilms, or overwhelm a host. Some plants fight this by releasing compounds that disrupt that bacterial conversation. The bacteria may still be present, yet they cannot organize as effectively. It is like cutting the wires on a coordinated attack. In practice, this can reduce the formation of biofilms on plant surfaces and limit the ability of pathogens to mount a full infection. The elegance is that the plant does not have to kill the bacteria outright, which can be difficult in a wet, crowded environment. It only has to prevent teamwork. This approach also makes it harder for pathogens to benefit from numbers, because the signal that says we are many never lands properly. In a microscopic world, silence can be defense. The plant wins by making the enemy disorganized. Garlic's strongest bite forms only after its cells are cut. A whole garlic clove is relatively calm. The punch arrives when it is chopped, crushed, or chewed. Inside the intact clove, key ingredients are kept apart. Once the cells break, an enzyme meets its partner compound and rapidly produces allicin, the molecule responsible for garlic's sharp smell and sting. Allicin is not there to impress our cooking. It is part of a defense system that can inhibit many microbes and discourage some pests from feeding. The timing is perfect. The clove stays stable while it is safe, then becomes chemically intense at the moment it is attacked. That makes the first bite the most surprising one. In nature, a damaged bulb is vulnerable to infection, so a burst of antimicrobial chemistry is a strong advantage. Even for humans, the lesson is clear. Flavor can be a protective reaction, not just a culinary trait. Garlic tastes like defense because it is defense. Onion tears come from a defense chemistry that activates when chopped. An onion does not make you cry out of spite. It does it because cutting the bulb triggers a rapid chemical chain reaction. When onion cells rupture, enzymes transform stored compounds into a volatile irritant that rises into the air and reaches your eyes. Your tear glands respond by flushing the surface, trying to wash the irritant away. For the onion, that airborne sting is a deterrent. It can discourage animals and insects from chewing, and it may reduce the chance that microbes easily colonize a damaged bulb. What makes this fascinating is how fast it happens. The onion keeps the ingredients separate while intact. Then the chemistry assembles itself only when the tissue is broken. It is an on-demand defense cloud. That means the onion can sit safely underground for months, then release its protective bite the moment something breaks through the layers. Your tears are a tiny demonstration of how seriously plants guard their stored energy. Coffee plants produce caffeine, which can poison insects in high doses. Caffeine is famous for waking human brains, yet in a plant, it can serve as a chemical shield. In high enough doses, caffeine can disrupt insect nervous systems, which can reduce feeding and harm survival. That gives the plant a way to make its leaves less profitable to chew. The story gets even more intriguing when you zoom in on plant life stages. Young tissues and vulnerable parts can carry higher concentrations, which helps protect the plant's future growth. Caffeine can also influence insect behavior in subtle ways, changing how they learn and return to a food source. From the plant's point of view, even a small decrease in repeat visits can matter. It means fewer eggs laid, fewer bites taken, and more time to recover. What we experience as a useful stimulant began as a warning signal, built to make a plant a worse choice than its neighbors. The world's morning ritual has roots in botanical self-defense. Tea leaves make bitter compounds that discourage repeated feeding. Tea plants defend their tender leaves with chemistry that turns chewing into a disappointment. Many of the key compounds are polyphenols, including catechins and related molecules that taste astringent and can reduce how appealing a leaf feels after the first bite. For an insect, the experience is not just unpleasant. Some of these compounds can interfere with digestion and nutrient uptake, so the leaf delivers less value than expected. That matters because herbivores learn quickly. If one plant consistently tastes harsh and yields poor nutrition, the insect is more likely to move on and search elsewhere. The tea plant benefits because it reduces sustained damage to the same shoots, which are the parts it needs most for growth. It is also a defense that can scale. Leaves exposed to more pressure can shift their chemistry, making a heavily targeted plant even less rewarding over time. What humans call complexity of flavor began as a strategy to make a leaf a bad habit. Cocoa plants can raise defensive chemistry after being browsed. Cocoa trees live in warm, humid environments where insects and microbes thrive, and a damaged leaf can quickly become a doorway for more trouble. One way cocoa can respond is by boosting protective compounds after browsing begins. This can include increasing bitter polyphenols and other defensive molecules that make leaves less appetizing and less friendly to pathogens. The tree is making a choice. It shifts resources into defense when the threat is real, rather than keeping maximum defenses running at all times. That flexibility matters for a plant that also needs to grow, flower, and set pods. What is fascinating is that these chemical shifts can change the experience of herbivores and microbes together. A leaf becomes harder to eat, and it also becomes a less suitable surface for infection. In nature, that kind of dual effect is powerful. It does not need to be perfect. It only needs to tilt survival odds in the tree's favor, one feeding event at a time. Mint oils can deter insects and also slow microbial growth on leaves. Mint's scent is a cloud of volatile oils released from tiny glands, and that cloud can be a defense in more than one direction. For many insects, strong aromatic compounds can be confusing or irritating, making it harder to find the plant or settle in to feed. For microbes, some of the same oils can inhibit growth on the leaf surface, reducing the chance that small wounds become infected. The plant is using fragrance as a protective atmosphere. What makes this especially interesting is that the oils do not need a bite to matter. They can act at a distance, shaping who approaches in the first place. In a crowded garden, that can reduce the number of visits from pests that prefer milder targets. Mint also stores these oils in structures designed to prevent self-harm, because concentrated oils can be harsh even to plant tissues. So the plant packages its defense carefully, then releases it as a scent you can notice from a few steps away. Aroma becomes armor, and the leaf carries its shield in the air. Sage and rosemary oils can act as natural repellents against some pests. Rub a sage leaf or a rosemary sprig between your fingers, and you release a sharp cloud of aromatic oils. In the plant's world, that scent is not decoration. It is a chemical boundary that can make it harder for some insects to settle, feed, or even recognize the plant as a good target. These oils evaporate easily, so they can work at a distance, which matters when the first landing is often the most dangerous moment. Many Mediterranean herbs live under intense sun and steady pressure from hungry insects, so building a protective fragrance can be a smart investment. The oils can also discourage microbial growth on leaf surfaces, which helps in dry, dusty conditions where small wounds are common. What is so captivating is how familiar this defense is to us. A kitchen scent is also a survival tool, and every breath of it hints at a long history of plants saying, "Not this one." Neem produces compounds that disrupt insect growth, making them fail to mature. Neem has earned its reputation because it does not only repel insects, It can interfere with how they develop. When certain pests feed on neem-treated tissue, the signals that guide molting and maturation can be thrown off. The insect may eat less, grow poorly, or fail to complete its normal life cycle. That matters because a pest that cannot mature cannot reproduce, and a population that cannot reproduce collapses over time. This is a very different kind of defense from a quick toxin. It is a slow unraveling of the insect's plan. Neem is also interesting because it can affect a range of insects without being a simple blanket poison, and that has helped it become a widely used plant-derived tool in agriculture. From the tree's perspective, this is protection of living tissue and future growth. From our perspective, it is a glimpse into a plant's ability to target the timing of an attacker's life, not just its appetite. Some plants release smoke-triggered germination signals after fires clear competitors. In fire-prone landscapes, flames can erase a season of growth in a single day. Yet for some plants, smoke is not only a threat. It is a cue that the world has been reset. After a fire, sunlight reaches the ground, nutrients can become more available, and competing plants may be temporarily reduced. Certain seeds are tuned to that moment. Chemicals in smoke can seep into soil and signal that conditions are right to wake up. The seed coat may loosen, and germination begins while the window is open. This is a breathtaking strategy because it turns disaster into timing. The plant is not surviving the flames as an adult. It is surviving them as a future. Fire becomes a kind of harsh gardener, clearing space. Smoke becomes the message that says, now. When you think about it, that is one of the boldest defenses of all. The plant escapes danger by living in the next chapter. After grazing, some plants regrow fast, outpacing the damage. Not every defense looks like a weapon. Sometimes it looks like speed. In many grasslands, plants face mouths that return again and again, so some species respond with rapid regrowth that can keep pace with being eaten. New leaves push up quickly, and growth points stay low to the ground where teeth and hooves miss them. This creates what ecologists sometimes call grazing lawns, patches that stay short yet intensely alive. The plant's advantage is resilience. If it can replace lost tissue quickly, it can keep photosynthesizing, keep storing energy, and keep its roots stable in the soil. The grazer may think it is winning, but the plant is practicing endurance. This strategy can also shape whole landscapes, because fast regrowing plants can dominate where grazing pressure is constant. It is a kind of green judo. The plant does not stop the bite. It makes the bite less meaningful. Survival becomes a race, and the plant learns to sprint without moving. Many plants keep sleeping buds ready to replace destroyed shoots. A plant may look like a single trunk or stem, yet it often carries backups. Dormant buds can sit quietly under bark or at the base of stems, waiting for the moment when the main growing tip is lost. If a deer browses a shoot or a storm snaps a branch, these sleeping buds can awaken and produce new growth. This is a powerful defense against the unpredictable, because it means damage does not always end the plant's future shape. It simply changes the plan. Some buds remain hidden for years, protected by layers of tissue, which makes them hard for herbivores to destroy completely. When they activate, they can rebuild the canopy, replace flowers, and restore leaf area. The beauty of this strategy is its patience. The plant invests in options it may never need, and that investment pays off when life becomes rough. In a sense, the plant carries spare parts, and it can rebuild itself from within. Some trees can sprout from trunks after storms, like a second chance. A severe storm can strip leaves, break branches, and leave a tree looking finished. Yet some species can respond by producing new shoots directly from the trunk or major limbs. These sprouts can emerge from buds that were protected beneath the bark, and they can rapidly rebuild a crown when the usual branch network has been damaged. It can look almost miraculous, as if the tree is restarting. This is more than cosmetic recovery. New leaves restore energy production, which supports wound sealing and future growth. In landscapes where wind, ice, or heavy snow are common, this ability can be the difference between a tree dying back and a tree enduring for decades. It is also a defense against browsing, because a heavily eaten sapling may still regrow from protected tissues lower down. What makes it so compelling is the quiet persistence. The tree does not get up and walk away from danger. It absorbs the hit, then grows a new answer from the place that was struck. Clonal plants can lose one section, while the rest survives and spreads. Some plants spread as networks. A strawberry runner, a bamboo rhizome, or a patch of many grasses can be one genetic individual stretched across the ground. That makes them surprisingly hard to defeat. If one section is grazed, infected, or trampled, other sections can keep living and keep growing. The plant does not rely on a single trunk or a single crown. It relies on connection and redundancy. Resources can move through the network, so a healthier part can support a struggling part, at least for a while. Even when the connection breaks, the remaining pieces can continue independently, like cuttings that are already rooted. This is a defense that turns loss into fragmentation, and fragmentation into spread. It also changes how we think about individuality. When you see a carpet of green, you may be looking at one organism with many mouths to feed and many places to survive. Damage becomes local. Survival becomes collective. Aspen groves can be one organism, sharing resources after injury. In some forests, a whole grove of aspens can be a single living clone. Many trunks may rise from one shared root system, and those trunks can support one another through that underground connection. If one stem is damaged, other stems can continue feeding the roots, and the roots can send water and nutrients toward new shoots. This makes the grove resilient against browsing, fire, and disease outbreaks that do not hit every stem at once. It can also allow fast recovery after disturbance, because new stems can sprout from a root system that already has stored energy. One famous example is a clonal aspen colony, often called pando, which has become a symbol of this hidden kind of longevity. What feels mind-blowing is that the forest can be a single body wearing many trunks, like many fingers. Defense here is not a thorn or a toxin. It is a shared foundation. The grove survives because it is connected, and connection can outlast injury. Some plants drop infected leaves early, cutting off a spreading disease. When a leaf is infected, it can become a factory for spores and bacteria, and it can act like a bridge to the rest of the plant. Some plants respond by isolating that leaf and then letting it fall. A specialized layer of cells forms of the leaf base, and the connection is cleanly severed. This does more than remove a damaged part. It removes a habitat that the pathogen was using. It also reduces the chance that rain splash or crawling insects spread the infection upward. The plant loses photosynthetic area, which is costly, yet it may save its stems, buds, and future flowers. There is also an ecological twist. The fallen leaf can be carried away, decomposed, or buried, which can break the pathogen's life cycle. The drama is that the plant is making a choice under pressure. Keep the leaf and risk more spread, or drop it and protect the whole. It is botanical triage, and it can be surprisingly decisive. Leaf fall can be a defense, not just a seasonal habit. We often think leaves fall because of winter or dryness, yet leaf shedding can also be a strategic exit. If pests are concentrated on foliage, dropping leaves can remove the attackers along with the tissue they were feeding on. For some insects, a sudden fall is a disaster. They lose their food source, they lose their shelter, and they may be exposed to predators on the ground. Leaf fall can also reduce disease pressure because many pathogens rely on living leaf tissue to persist and spread. In some climates, plants become leafless during the worst pest or disease season, then regrow when conditions improve. This is not laziness. It is timing. The plant is stepping out of the fight for a while, then returning with fresh growth. What makes this so fascinating is the scale of the decision. A plant is willing to discard large, energy-rich organs as a form of protection. It is a reminder that survival is not always about holding on. Sometimes survival is about letting go at exactly the right moment. Some plants change flowering time to avoid peak pest seasons. Timing can be a form of armor. In some habitats, insects emerge in predictable waves, and certain plants respond by shifting when they flower. If the worst seed eaters and bud chewers peak in early spring, a plant that blooms later may escape the heaviest pressure. In other places, the danger rises in midsummer, so early bloomers can finish their delicate work before pests are abundant. This is not only about surviving today, it is about getting seeds safely into the future. Even a small shift in flowering can change which insects show up, which fungi spread, and which animals notice the plant at all. Over generations, natural selection can favor individuals whose schedules fit the local calendar of threats. The result is a landscape where time is part of the battlefield. A flower is not only a structure, it is an event, and the date of that event can be protective. Plants can adjust their chemistry depending on time of day. A plant's enemies do not keep office hours. Some insects feed at dawn, others at midday, and others in the evening when heat drops. Many plants track daily cycles using internal clocks, and those clocks can influence defense chemistry. Protective compounds may rise when feeding pressure is most likely, and fall when the plant needs to focus on growth and repair. This can make defenses more efficient because making chemicals costs energy and raw materials. It also makes the plant harder to exploit. An insect that succeeds at 1 hour may find the same leaf less welcoming later. Even scents can follow daily rhythms, which changes who is attracted and who is warned away. The fascinating part is that this rhythm can continue even when conditions are steady, because the plant's clock keeps time from within. Defense becomes scheduled, like a city that increases patrols when trouble usually happens. Night defenses can differ from day defenses, matching nocturnal attackers. Night brings a different cast of feeders. Slugs, snails, and many nocturnal insects take advantage of darkness and cooler air. Some plants respond with defenses that are stronger or more active after sunset, which can include changes in taste, surface chemistry, or signaling that recruits nighttime predators. This matching makes sense because a plant does not benefit from building the same shield at the same strength all day long. If the main danger arrives at night, the strongest preparation should arrive then too. In some species, the tissues most likely to be attacked after dark, like young shoots close to the ground, become less appetizing overnight. The drama here is that the plant is not just reacting to damage. It is anticipating a familiar pattern in its environment. Darkness is not only a change in light, it is a change in threat, and the plant's defenses can follow that shift. Some plants protect seeds with rock-hard coats that resist chewing. A seed is a future packed into a small, portable form, and many plants defend it like a treasure. One of the most effective strategies is a hard seed coat that resists teeth, beaks, and grinding jaws. Some coats are so tough that they pass through an animal unharmed, while others demand extreme force that makes the seed a poor choice compared to softer food. Hard coats also protect against drying out, heat, and microbes waiting in the soil. The twist is that a seed still needs to open at the right moment. So many species pair hardness with a special trigger. Time, weathering, fire cues, or passage through a digestive tract can weaken the coat and allow germination. This turns defense into timing. The seed stays sealed during danger, then opens when conditions favor growth. In that way, a hard coat is not only protection. It is a lock with a seasonally timed key. Many fruits pack seeds in tough shells and put rewards outside instead. Some plants solve a tricky problem with smart packaging. They want animals to carry seeds away, yet they do not want those seeds crushed. So they place the reward on the outside, in sweet flesh, juicy pulp, or aromatic oils. The seed itself sits behind a tough barrier, like a vault inside a dessert. An animal can enjoy the fruit and still fail to destroy the seed, which keeps the plant's future intact. This design can also control which animals are effective dispersers. A bird that swallows fruit whole may carry the seed farther. A mammal that chews heavily may get mostly pulp and leave the seed behind. What looks like generosity is selective engineering. The plant is offering payment, but it is also managing risk. The more valuable the seed, the more likely it is to be armored. A fruit can be both a lure and a safe. Burrs and hooks protect seeds and also hitch rides on animals. A burr looks like a nuisance to us, yet it is a brilliant two-part strategy. The hooks and barbs make the seed difficult to eat quickly because it is awkward to handle and uncomfortable to mouth. At the same time, those same hooks latch onto fur, feathers, and even clothing, turning passing animals into transport. This can move seeds far beyond the shadow of the parent plant, which reduces competition and lowers the chance that local seed predators find them all in one place. It also helps seeds reach disturbed ground, where animals travel most and where new growth opportunities often appear. The plant is using pain and persistence as tools. A bird does not need speed. It only needs one good contact, and then it rides. What makes this so fascinating is the elegance. Defense and dispersal are combined in one structure. The very thing that makes the seed hard to eat also makes it hard to ignore. Some plants produce sticky seeds that cling to feathers and fur. Not every hitchhiker seed uses hooks. Some use glue. A sticky coating can adhere to feathers, fur, or even muddy hooves, especially after rain or morning dew. This stickiness can keep the seed attached long enough to travel, then release later when the coating dries or wears off. It is a quieter approach than barbs, yet it can be just as effective, particularly for small seeds that would not survive heavy chewing anyway. The sticky layer can also reduce immediate predation by making the seed unpleasant to mouth, and it may trap small particles that camouflage the seed once it falls. That means a seed can arrive somewhere new and still be hard to find. The plant is using chemistry to recruit movement from animals that never meant to help. It is a reminder that dispersal is often accidental, and plants have evolved ways to take advantage of accidents with astonishing reliability. Certain desert plants protect water stores with spines and bitter sap. In deserts, water is not just life. It is currency. Plants that store water become obvious targets for thirsty animals. So many desert species defend those reserves with multiple layers of deterrents. Spines discourage chewing and puncturing, which helps prevent both water loss and direct theft. Bitter sap adds another barrier, because even a small taste can convince an animal that the effort is not worth it. Some species also seal wounds quickly, which prevents precious moisture from bleeding away into dry air. The bigger story is that these defenses protect more than tissue. They protect a timed savings account that must last through long droughts. A single breach can be catastrophic, so the plant invests in barriers that make damage less likely and less profitable. The result is a landscape where the most water-rich plants are often the most heavily defended. It is not aggression. It is careful budgeting, protected by needles and chemistry. Cacti spines can shade the plant, reducing heat stress and herbivory. A cactus spine can do more than poke. In intense sun, spines can cast a fine, patterned shade over the surface, lowering temperature and reducing the stress of constant heat. That shading can slow water loss and protect tissues that would otherwise overheat. Spines also influence airflow right next to the cactus skin, which can change how quickly moisture escapes. These effects make the plant healthier, and a healthier plant can better recover from minor injuries and maintain its defenses. There is also a behavioral angle. Animals tend to browse where it is comfortable and rewarding. A spiny, shaded surface is harder to bite, and it offers less easy access to soft tissue. The cactus becomes both less tempting and more difficult. What looks like a simple weapon is also a climate tool, engineered by evolution for a place where sunlight can be as dangerous as teeth. In deserts, staying cool can be a form of protection. Prickles on roses are skin outgrowths, not true thorns. If you have ever snagged your sleeve on a rose, you have met a defense that is often misunderstood. Those sharp points are prickles, and they grow from the outer skin layers rather than from deeper woody tissue. That is why they can sometimes snap off more easily than a thorn, and why they can vary so much even along one stem. For the plant, prickles are a practical barrier. They make browsing uncomfortable, and they make climbing and tugging costly for animals that might strip leaves or buds. They also help roses scramble through surrounding vegetation, which can lift flowers into better light while adding a layer of protection. In the wild, that combination matters. A plant that can both climb and discourage grazers has more chances to bloom and set seeds. What looks like a simple jab is actually a multi-purpose tool built from skin and shaped for survival. True thorns are modified stems, and they can grow in precise patterns. A true thorn is not just a sharp point. It is a stem that has been transformed into a hardened spear, complete with deep attachment to the plant's internal structure. Because thorns are modified stems, they often appear in orderly, repeatable positions, like a map of where branches could have grown. In hawthorns and many citrus relatives, this pattern can be striking, and it reveals a hidden design principle. The plant is redirecting growth potential into defense. Instead of investing in a new leafy shoot that could be eaten, it builds a rigid deterrent that protects nearby buds and tender tissues. Thorns can also influence how animals feed. A grazer may take smaller bites or avoid the plant entirely, which can spare the plant's most valuable growing points. Over time, this changes the whole feel of a habitat, because heavily defended plants can become safe havens for smaller creatures that shelter among the spikes. Some plants produce edible-looking decoys, steering animals away from real buds. Not all defenses are sharp or bitter. Some are misdirection. A plant may present parts that look tempting, while the most important tissues stay better protected. In some cases, this can mean sacrificial leaves positioned where browsing is easiest, leaving delicate buds less likely to be noticed. In others, plants can produce structures that resemble the start of new growth, drawing attention away from the true growing tip. The result is a kind of shell game played at the scale of a branch. An animal takes what seems like the prize, and the plant keeps what it cannot afford to lose. This strategy works best when herbivores are in a hurry or when they make quick decisions based on shape and texture rather than careful inspection. It is also a reminder that plant defenses can target perception. The attacker does not need to be hurt. It only needs to be guided toward the wrong choice, and a few saved buds can decide next season's flowers. Certain vines have hairs that irritate skin, deterring large browsers. A vine has a special challenge. It often grows within reach, and it can be stripped quickly by a passing animal. Some vines respond with irritating hairs that make contact unpleasant, especially for large browsers that push their noses into foliage. These hairs can cause itchiness and discomfort, which turns a quick snack into an experience an animal would rather avoid repeating. The hairs also create a physical barrier for smaller pests, because reaching tender tissue becomes harder through a scratchy surface. In dense growth, this protection can be decisive. A vine that can deter heavy browsing keeps its leaves longer, which helps it climb, spread, and reach sunlight above the understory. The fascinating part is that irritation is a memory maker. Animals learn. A plant that teaches discomfort can gain a long-term advantage because the safest meal is usually the one that does not fight back. A vine with irritating hairs is quietly rewriting the menu. Stinging nettles inject chemicals with tiny needles made of brittle silica. A nettle sting is a highly engineered defense. The hairs are like miniature hollow needles, and their tips can snap off when brushed. That break creates a sharp point that can pierce skin, delivering irritating chemicals into the surface. Silica helps make those hairs stiff and brittle, which supports the snap and inject mechanism. The result is immediate feedback for any animal that tries to feed. Many mammals learn to avoid nettles quickly, and even careless contact can be enough to discourage a second attempt. This defense also protects the metal's tender leaves, which are nutritious and would otherwise be easy targets. What makes nettles so captivating is how mechanical the whole process is. There is no chasing and no movement toward the attacker. The plant simply stands there with a forest of tiny syringes, waiting for touch to trigger the sting. It is a defense that relies on structure, chemistry, and the speed of pain, all packed into a hair. Some plants produce proteins that puncture insect gut cells. Some plant defenses are aimed at the most vulnerable place in an insect, the gut lining that must absorb nutrients from food. Certain plants can produce proteins that bind to those gut cells and disrupt them, creating tiny failures in the barrier that an insect depends on. When that lining is compromised, digestion becomes less efficient, and the insect can weaken even if it keeps eating. This is a powerful strategy because it turns the insect's own feeding behavior into the delivery method. Every bite brings more of the disruptive proteins into the body. It also raises the stakes for being a generalist herbivore. An insect that samples many plants may encounter many different gut-targeting defenses, each requiring a different workaround. The plant's advantage is not only harm, it is deterrence. An insect that feels unwell, grows slowly, or fails to thrive will be less likely to return and less likely to reproduce successfully. The leaf becomes a risky meal, and risk is often enough to redirect a hungry animal elsewhere. Plants can make compounds that block an insect's sense of smell. For many insects, smell is everything. It guides them to food, to mates, and to safe places to lay eggs. Some plants produce volatile compounds that interfere with that sensory world, masking the plant's own scent or overwhelming an insect's ability to detect key cues. To the insect, the host plant can become harder to find, or it can smell wrong enough to be ignored. This is a beautifully indirect defense, because it can prevent an attack before the first bite. It also helps explain why mixed plant communities can be harder for specialist pests to exploit. If one plant's scents confuse the insect, the insect may fail to locate its preferred host even if it is nearby. The plant is not relying on punishment. It is relying on misnavigation. In a landscape, that can be decisive. A pest that cannot find you cannot feed on you, and a plant that can blur its scent signature gains safety through anonymity. Some crops rely on humans now, after defenses were bred down for taste. Many wild plants are tough customers. They may be bitter, fibrous, or full of irritating compounds that protect them from being eaten. Over generations, humans have selected crop varieties that are sweeter, softer, and easier to chew. That often means selecting away from certain natural defenses. The payoff is obvious at the dinner table, yet it creates a new dependency. A crop with fewer defenses can be more vulnerable to insects and disease, and it may need protection from farmers through management, breeding, or careful growing practices. This is not a mistake. It is a trade that helped agriculture thrive. It also reveals something intimate about domestication. When humans choose taste and yield, we sometimes replace a plant's own protective toolkit with our own. That relationship is a kind of partnership, but it can also be a fragile bargain. The plant becomes more inviting to us, and sometimes more inviting to pests as well, which makes the farm a place where defense has to be planned and supported. Wild relatives often carry lost defenses, and breeders bring them back. When modern crops struggle with pests, one of the best sources of help is often a scruffy wild cousin growing nearby. Wild relatives have spent their lives under constant attack, so they frequently carry defensive traits that were reduced during domestication. These traits can include stronger resistance to specific insects, improved tolerance to diseases, or tougher physical barriers that discourage feeding. Plant breeders can cross crops with their wild relatives to reintroduce those protective features, then select offspring that keep the defense without losing desirable farm traits. It is a slow and careful process, and it can feel like restoring a missing chapter of a plant's history. The fascinating part is the balance. Too much defense can reduce yield or change flavor, so breeders aim for a sweet spot where the plant protects itself better while still meeting human needs. In a sense, wild plants act like libraries of survival solutions, storing genetic options that agriculture can borrow when new threats appear. Gene editing can boost resistance, but pests can evolve around it. Modern biology can now adjust plant genes with extraordinary precision, and that opens new doors for plant protection. A crop can be edited to recognize a pathogen more effectively, or to strengthen a defensive pathway that already exists, which can reduce losses and lower the need for certain chemical sprays. Yet nature does not stand still. Pests and pathogens evolve quickly, and they can sometimes find ways around a new barrier, especially if the same solution is used widely and repeatedly. This makes resistance a moving target rather than a final victory. The most successful strategies often combine tools including diverse crop varieties, ecological practices, and ongoing breeding. What is compelling about this is the realism. Gene editing is powerful, but it is not magic. It is one more step in a long conversation between plants and their enemies, a conversation that has been running for millions of years. In that sense, every new defense is also a new challenge issued to the living world. Plant defenses shape entire food webs, deciding who eats whom. A single defensive chemical can ripple outward through an ecosystem. If a common shrub becomes harder to eat, herbivores may switch to other plants, and that shift changes which plants thrive, which flowers set seed, and which habitats provide shelter. Predators feel it too. When prey insects grow more slowly on well-defended leaves, they stay small longer, and that can change which birds or spiders catch them. Some defenses even determine where animals choose to feed, turning the landscape into a patchwork of safe zones and risky zones. Over time, these decisions shape migration routes, nesting sites, and the balance between species. It is astonishing to realize that a leaf's chemistry can influence a forest's architecture, not just its own survival. The plant is not only protecting itself, it is quietly steering energy through the whole food web, like a valve that opens and closes. Herbivores evolve detox enzymes, and plants respond with new cocktails. Eating plants is not simple. Many herbivores survive by carrying detox enzymes that break down defensive molecules before they can do harm. That can happen in the gut, in the liver-like tissues of insects, or with help from microbial partners. Yet plants do not stay still in this contest. When a defense becomes predictable, selection can favor plants that tweak the recipe, combine compounds in new ways, or produce molecules that overwhelm the detox system. The result is a chemical chess match played across generations. One side improves its ability to neutralize. The other side reshuffles its arsenal. This is why plant chemistry can be so diverse, even among closely related species. It is also why a pest that thrives on one plant may fail on a near cousin. The herbivore is adapted to a particular chemical landscape, and the plant keeps changing the terrain. Some insects become specialists, tolerating toxins that kill other insects. A specialist insect can treat a toxic plant like a private cafeteria. While generalist feeders are repelled or harmed, the specialist has evolved ways to cope, such as preventing toxins from entering sensitive tissues, breaking them down, or safely storing them. This creates a strange kind of exclusivity. The plant's defense becomes a filter that removes competitors, leaving the specialist with less rivalry and more food. Yet specialization is also a gamble. If the host plant becomes rare, or if its chemistry shifts, the specialist can struggle to survive. In that sense, the insect is betting its future on one botanical strategy. The plant benefits too, at least sometimes, because specialists can be easier for predators to track or for the plant to target with more precise defenses. What looks like a one-sided victory is often a tightrope walk for both sides, balanced between access and vulnerability. A few herbivores use plant toxins as perfume and as protection. Some herbivores do more than survive plant defenses. They borrow them. After feeding, certain insects can store defensive chemicals and release them as odors that warn predators away. In a few species, those compounds can also become part of courtship, where scent signals strength, diet, or suitability as a mate. It is a startling idea. A chemical meant to say, "Do not eat this plant," becomes a chemical that says, "Do not eat me," or even choose me. This turns plant defense into an ingredient in animal communication. It also creates an invisible link between habitats and behavior. If the plant is scarce, the insect may lose its protective scent, which can change predation risk and mating success. The insect is not just eating calories. It is gathering chemistry, like collecting a cloak that can be worn in the open. Defense becomes fragrance, and fragrance becomes survival. Plant defenses can influence pollinators too, balancing protection with attraction. A plant must protect itself without scaring away the helpers it depends on. That balancing act can shape everything from taste to timing. Defensive compounds in leaves may be kept low in nectar, so pollinators are not discouraged. In some species, protection is stronger in stems and foliage, while flowers remain more welcoming. Even scent can be tuned, because strong defensive odors may repel pests, but also disrupt pollinator visits. This forces trade-offs. A plant that is too open becomes vulnerable. The plant that is too hostile may fail to reproduce. Over time, this pressure can produce elegant solutions, like defensive chemistry that rises after flowering, or physical barriers that deter chewing without camphor, interfering with pollen transfer. The result is that a flower can be both a beacon and a guarded vault. The plant is negotiating with two audiences at once, and the outcome shapes how landscapes bloom. Some plants defend roots while keeping flowers welcoming to allies. Below ground, threats are constant and hard to escape. Roots face chewing larvae, disease-causing microbes, and tiny parasites that can drain a plant's energy from the inside. Yet above ground, the same plant may need to remain inviting to pollinators and seed dispersers. Many species solve this by separating their strategies. Roots may release protective compounds into surrounding soil, while flowers offer sweeter, less defended rewards to avoid discouraging beneficial visitors. This division of labor is fascinating because it treats the plant as a whole organism with different neighborhoods and different rules. The underground zone becomes guarded and selective. The flowering zone becomes social and attractive. It also means a plant can be tough where it is most vulnerable and friendly where it needs cooperation. In a single day, the plant can be both fortress and marketplace, depending on which part you are standing near. The same chemical can repel one species and attract another. Nature does not label chemicals as good or bad. It depends on who is sensing them. A compound released from a leaf can deter an herbivore that associates it with a poor meal, while drawing in a predator that associates it with prey. The same scent can be a warning to one animal and a dinner bell to another. Even microbes can respond differently, with some inhibited by a chemical that others tolerate. This makes plant defense feel like a crowded conversation where each listener hears a different message. It also means a plant can gain multiple benefits from one signal. Repel the chewer. Attract the hunter. Reduce infection. Encourage a helpful partner. The astonishing part is that these effects can happen simultaneously in the same patch of air. A molecule leaves a leaf, and the ecosystem interprets it in several ways at once. Defense becomes communication, and communication becomes control. Plants can trade defense and growth, choosing survival over size. Building defenses costs resources. Tougher tissues require more structural material. Defensive chemistry requires energy and nutrients. When danger rises, many plants shift investment away from rapid growth and toward protection. The result can be a smaller plant that is harder to eat, or a slower growing plant that survives long enough to reproduce. This trade-off can be visible across landscapes. In places with intense herbivory, plants may be shorter, woodier, or more heavily defended, while in safer conditions, they may stretch taller and leafier. It is a choice shaped by natural selection, and it can change from season to season within a plant's life. What makes it compelling is that the plant is not failing when it grows slowly. It is prioritizing. It is choosing to keep its body intact over reaching for more light. In that sense, defense is not an extra feature. It is a strategy that can rewrite a plant's entire shape. Climate change can shift plant chemistry, changing how defenses work. Plant defenses are built on metabolism, and metabolism responds to temperature, water, and carbon dioxide. As climates warm, drought patterns shift, and growing seasons change, plants may alter the kinds and amounts of defensive compounds they produce. That can change which herbivores succeed and which pathogens spread, sometimes in surprising directions. A pest that used to be limited by a plant's chemistry might find the leaf more edible under new conditions, or it might face stronger defenses that it is not adapted to handle. Timing matters too. If plants leaf out earlier, they may meet insects at different life stages than before. This can reshape the rhythm of attack and recovery across an entire region. The bigger point is that plant defense is not fixed. It is responsive and dynamic, and a changing climate can tilt the balance of these interactions. When plant chemistry shifts, ecosystems can shift with it. Every leaf is a battleground, and the war has lasted for ages. Plants and their attackers have been shaping each other for an unimaginably long time. Long before humans farmed fields, leaves were being chewed, stems were being pierced, and microbes were searching for entry points. In response, plants built layers of defense, physical barriers, chemical surprises, rapid signaling, and alliances with other organisms. Attackers adapted in return, developing new ways to feed, avoid, or resist. This ancient back and forth is why the natural world is full of specialized mouthparts, strange plant textures, and complex scents that carry meaning. It is also why there is no permanent victory. A defense that works today may be tested tomorrow by a new strategy. Yet the persistence is the marvel. Each leaf you see is a survivor, shaped by countless encounters that left no fossil record. When you look at a plant, you are looking at a living history of conflict, ingenuity, and endurance. As we come to the end of our journey tonight, you can let the ideas settle like leaves drifting down after a long season. We have wandered through a world where plants are never truly still. We have seen how roots sense danger in the dark, how leaves answer bites with chemistry and texture, and how flowers balance welcome with caution. We have listened in on slow conversations carried by scent, by sap, and by soil, where plants recruit allies, redirect resources, and sometimes let go of parts of themselves to protect what matters most. All of it happens without sound, without footsteps, and without haste. A forest, a field, even a single houseplant is full of quiet decisions unfolding at a pace that rewards patience. Every thorn, every bitter taste, every sudden drop of a leaf is part of a long story of persistence. A story written not in moments, but in seasons, droughts, rains, and returning light. Now, there is nothing you need to hold on to. Let the details soften at the edges. Let the images blur into something calmer. If your thoughts are still wandering, that is fine. If they are already slowing, that is fine too. Simply rest in the idea that the living world knows how to endure, how to adapt, and how to keep going without hurry. If you find yourself awake and curious, there will be another sleepy science video waiting for you on the screen, ready to carry you a little further. And if not, that is perfectly okay. Your only task now is to rest. Sleep well and good night.